are, you said that, Officer Navarro asked you, did you see the gun? You said, yes, I saw anything. So did you see, now, let me ask, you're saying the suspect, do you recognize, the suspect that you ran after, saw with the gun, saw tossing, and you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I see him. Sitting right there.
Okay, so if I'm in chair one, my co-counsel's in chair two, and so on, what chair would he be sitting in?
Chair 4.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant in open court.
The record will so reflect.
So did you see, the defendant possess the gun?
I did. Yes.
How did you see him possess the gun?
So it was when I was pursuing him on foot, and I didn't mention this yesterday. I did holster my weapon after I was pursuing him because I didn't see a firearm because he had his back to me. It was when he turned in between those two vehicles when I saw the firearm in his hand. So that's when I withdrew my firearm from my holster again, because there's somebody with a gun in their hand, which I visibly saw in his right hand. I'm not going to just grab with its officer safety if he turns around that split second. It's him with a gun with me with no gun. So I withdrew my pistol, my service weapon, and I pointed at him, but then I saw him quickly toss it, so I didn't engage or fire at him. That's when I ran after him because he continued running, and that's when I pushed him down.
Now, did you have your firearm, because you said you get your service pistol out again once you see the gun in his hand.
Yes.
Do you, when you push him down, do you have your firearm in your hand at that time?
I do have my firearm in my hand.
So were you able to reholster, if you recall, reholster your?
After he fell down, the suspect fell down to the ground, I got on top of him and then reholstered my firearm, and then that's when we put him in custody, or detained him.
Sure. One more, Your Honor.
May.
We approach.
May.
I'll let you know what I was about to do. If he wants to approach. Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
So, Officer Santana, you described sort of everything that leading up to you seeing the defendant with the firearm and tossing the firearm.
Yes.
Now, just in case the jury has not heard this, I don't recall, I've slept since yesterday too, so I don't recall if you testified to this exactly, but once you, I think you described, did you describe how you were able to detain the defendant? I believe you said he was running, sort of ducking.
He was running away from the scene. He was doing like a crouch, hover, and I said it was because it was by the vehicles. He did like a kind of
described to the jury as far as your pursuit of the defendant, and you seen the defendant toss the firearm? Does it also show you, what do you call it, a hand displacement? Yesterday you said you learned it in the academy.
Oh, the balance displacement?
Oh, balance displacement, my apologies, okay. So does it show you doing that balance displacement to the defendant?
Yes, it will.
Does it show the area of 100 North Crowder Street where you were pursuing the defendant?
Yes, that's the street that we're on.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of the events that you observed on May 21st, 2022?
Yes, it is.
And based on that, I believe it's approximately 10-second interaction that we see on State Exhibit 14, any alterations or deletions to that, as far as that, what you recall to your knowledge as what happened on State Exhibit 14?
No deletions that I've seen.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
No deletions that I've seen.
Thank you.
Now, let me talk this back.
Oh.
Sorry. So, Officer Santana, does State Exhibit 14, does it portray the events exactly how you described them occurring in, you described this ducking, do you see this ducking running, do you see the defendant ducking, running on State Exhibit 14 as well?
Yes, you will.
So does it portray the events as you described exactly?
Yeah, it will. Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to read off for State Exhibit 14 for all purposes.
May I take the witness on word aye?
You may.
Officer Santana.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Everything you testified to is on this video, is that what you're saying?
Just the initial part where, on that video, is where the suspect walks in between, or runs in between the two vehicles where he slows down. It's not gonna show the first part of.
Let me interrupt you,
Yes.
rephrase my question, because I don't think
Okay.
I understood it. Is what's on this video, have you already described for us?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay. You've watched this video.
I have seen this video, yes, sir.
When did you see this video?
I want to say approximately 2 weeks ago. I couldn't give an exact date, sir.
Okay. So is the video complete?
The video, from which part, sir?
When does the video cut off?
The video cuts off right when I put him into custody, or right after the pushing, the suspect falls on the ground.
Okay. And you haven't seen a complete video, so it ends right at that moment? Is that
From
right?
what I've seen, yes, sir.
Okay. I'll re-urge my same objections, Your Honor, from yesterday, that this is not the best evidence. It's incomplete, it's not an original. The state had the opportunity to get the original, which they failed to do.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, based on Texas Rule of Evidence 1003 and 1004, duplicates of originals are allowed, and also in Texas Rule of Evidence 1004, it does allow admissibility of videos for other purposes if the original is lost or destroyed or not obtainable. As far as authentication, Officer Santana has testified that what's on State Exhibit 14 is what he described, how it occurred, how he saw the defendant with the firearm in his right hand, toss it between the vehicles. He also testified that it shows the defendant doing the ducking running motion. He also testified that it shows him doing the balance displacement to the defendant, and it cuts off right before the defendant is taken into custody, which of course is a part of anything after that would be a part of the court's ruling, which would be inadmissible. And so the state believes that we've met our authentication burden, as well as that this video has been authenticated and is admissible under Texas Rule of Evidence 1003 and 1004. And regarding, I believe counsel, okay, well, if he does, go ahead, I don't know if you had another.
This isn't a duplicate. That is an incorrect categorization. It is an imperfect copy. A duplicate would be an exact copy of the original. The original wasn't lost, wasn't destroyed, and it wasn't unavailable. It was available. They just failed to get it. And this isn't the best evidence because it cuts out half the video. And secondly, it's not about authentication. It's about it being the best evidence, and it's about the rule of optional completeness. And we had this hearing yesterday, and this was deemed inadmissible. I don't think this witness has salvaged that or changed that materially. And I think this legal objection, not the factual objection, remains the same, Judge. I think it's inadmissible.
And Judge, he brought up rule of optional completeness. He didn't initially, so I would like to address that. That rule actually only relates to writings or recording statements. It doesn't apply to videos, and it's also regarding hearsay specifically. So rule of optional completeness doesn't actually apply in this particular context because it only relates to writings and recorded statements of individuals. Authenticity is important because that is one of the requirements of 1003 as far as being able to admit duplicates. And so the state believes it has met its burden.
Based on the evidence that has been admitted before the jury, defense objection is sustained.
So Officer Santana, did you have a body worn camera?
I did, yes.
And can you explain to the jury exactly when you activated your body worn camera?
So I activated my body camera. It wasn't immediate. It wasn't at the very beginning of the incident. It wasn't when the gunshot was sounding or went off. It was activated just as Perez Valera was being detained in handcuffs. The reason being was the incident happened so fast. It happened then and there. I had not received the body cam until after I graduated the academy. Unknown reasons why. I'm not sure if it was with the department's funding.
Sure.
It wasn't until later that I received training for body cam. So it wasn't a natural instinct for me to activate my body cam the second the incident started. It was until President Valera was being detained.
Sure. And so when your body camera begins, what do we see on it?
In my body cam, it has a 30-second prior to the incident. So you will see as soon as the video starts up, I'm near this vehicle, and I'm looking under the vehicle, and then I'm walking around the vehicle, and then you see me go to the grate by the sidewalk where the vehicle's parked along the curb, and then you see me bend down, and pick up that firearm that's inside that grate, like I explained, that almost fell into the sewage of the sewer. And I pick it up, see that it's still, got the magazine and it's still chambered, so I walk around the vehicle, and then I take the magazine out and I clear the weapon, taking that loaded chamber, loaded cartridge out of the chamber, which falls on the ground, and I pick up. That's the very beginning.
Sure. Now, you also, so you talk about you try to get information from Mr. Rouse and basically trying to figure out what happened. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
We also see that on your body camera.
you.
And what else do we see? Well, let me just, may I approach your honor?
You may.
Now, Officer Santana, I'm showing you what I just marked as State's Exhibit 30. You recognize that in your body camera?
Yes.
Now, you talked about what is contained on your body camera. State's Exhibit 30, this is a edited version of your body camera per the court's ruling, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but outside of the portions that have been redacted per the court's ruling, is it a fair and accurate representation of your body camera on May
Yes.
21st, 2022?
Yes.
Do you think it would be helpful for the jury?
I think so, yeah, absolutely.
Here at this time, the state's gonna offer State's Exhibit 30, tendering to defense.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit 30, Officer Santana's body camera video is admitted for all purposes. Would you like the lights off?
Just a little bit, but not here, so I can still see. Yeah. Okay, just you can hit the, yeah, lights. Okay, so Officer Santana, you talked about that 30-second delay, correct?
Yeah.
We need, portions have been redacted per the court's ruling, so we see the sound come on sooner, correct? As far as before the 30 seconds?
The sound come on, oh, right now, yes.
Now, your body camera, how long would you say you were out there?
Out at the intersection that night?
Yes.
Or out, with the entire incident that happened?
Yes, the entire incident,
I wanna say at least an hour.
at least an hour? Okay. So would your body camera, your full body camera would have shown approximately an hour of interaction, investigation, and things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm gonna slow this down a little bit. Lieutenant, you described that the gun was sort of hanging, within the metal grate, almost about to fall.
Yes, it's right there, almost about to fall right in.
So at 6 seconds, for the record, is this you with your flashlight?
Yes, ma'am.
And at 9 seconds, we see you, you're covering the firearm,
I was
is that
able to
correct?
grab it, yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna pause it right here at 7 seconds. Judge, does the annotation not work on?
By annotation, you mean the part that they can draw on the screen?
Right.
I haven't seen it work,
Okay.
and we put in a request about 9 months ago.
Well, I'm gonna use my arrow, if that's okay, Officer Santana.
Okay.
I know it's a little dark, I wanted to highlight this, but right here where I'm circling here, is that where you saw the gun?
Yes, that's,
Sort of-
that's the gun that I see.
Is this how you described it, sort of hanging within the metal grate?
Just right there.
I'm gonna back up a little bit, it looks like right at 10 seconds, that's when you remove the magazine from right here. What are you doing at this point?
So right here, I'm clearing the weapon. I have to remove the magazine first before I can clear the chamber. If not, it'll load another bullet into the chamber. So I have to release the magazine.
And then we see that here at 11 seconds. Do you see that one round you testified to?
I do see a round. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna speed it back up to the regular speed here.
strap, bro. Keep that strap on me. I ain't trying to know what's gonna happen with my boy. We keep getting into it, bro. Where did you just walk, man? I know it's... ¿Sabes qué es lo que te calles? Escucha nada más. A mí no me estás escuchando a mí. Ustedes no me están escuchando a mí. Me va a hacer eso, okay? He was standing right there when it happened. He was back in the way.
I'm pausing at 6 minutes and 12 seconds. So, Officer Santana, we hear you asking about a gun tag. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And so, eventually, are you able to get with Officer Velasquez to get that gun
Yes,
tag?
I was able to get that from Velasquez.
He was gonna say, I'm not gonna chill. That's it. I'm not fearing of my life. I don't fear anybody. I'm just asking you. That's something I have to ask. No, I understand. I understand what you want. Look, I didn't even drive. My boy drowned me already. I don't even know the guy, man. I'm telling you, I didn't even know anyone.
Pausing at 8:34 for the record. What we just saw a few seconds before that, was that Velasquez telling you he would take a picture of the gun tag and send it to you like you testified to?
Yes, that's Officer Velasquez, and that's the conversation we had about sending me the photo of the property tag and gun tag.
Pausing at 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Is that Officer Morris you're talking to, right?
Yes, that's Officer Morris.
And he was partnered with Officer Velasquez?
Yes.
Officer Santana, what are you doing at this point?
I'm walking to my car, the patrol car that you see there on the video. I'm at an intersection just north of Crowder and Elm. We were both stationed to be or posted to be at the intersection of Crowder and Elm, but we kept seeing a lot of wrong-way drivers turning onto Elm, so I told Navarro, hey, I'm gonna park my car at this intersection because all these cars are coming down here, but we're both at the intersection of Crowder and Elm. So mine's just a little north, the next intersection.
Thank you, Judge, with the lights. So for the record, we see that State Exhibit 30 ends at 13 minutes and 2 seconds. And I don't need the lights, I'm just showing this. Yes. And Officer Santana, I just want you to point out this time here, is that, what time is that here?
It says it is 2:20, 13 seconds in the morning.
Okay, so 2:20, and then you testified that you were out there for maybe about an hour, fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. So after your video that we have in State Exhibit 30 concludes, what else happens that night?
From there, I walk up to Navarro. Navarro's on the computer with Perez Valero in the back of the car. I'm talking to Navarro about what's the next steps. Actually, Navarro was on the computer. He was writing the citation for Stephen Arouse. So he was working on that citation. It's handwritten, so it takes a minute to make sure you get all the documentation correctly. And you have to press hard for it to bleed into the next 2-3 pages.
Now, we do see on the video that you talked a little bit with Stephen Arouse, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you notice any signs of intoxication, Mr. Arouse?
yes, the slurred speech that he had, the red to the face, redness to the face, and then the glossy eyes. Some of them drinking, you can tell by their eyes. They're bloodshot as well.
Did you also have were you also able to observe the defendant on that night as well?
Yes, so until about that point, I really didn't have much interaction with Perez Valero other than, the balance displacement. It's not until I go back and I'm essentially, with Lieutenant and myself, hearing and Perez Valero just talking to us, I can see that he also has the same glossy eyes, and then I wasn't close enough to smell the alcohol beverage breath, but I can tell from the redness to his face and his slurred speech. Oh, not slurred, so slurred, but it's just the way he was communicating. I was like, I understand it was an intense situation, but he's just continuing to talk and talk and talk, but just from the glossy eyes and the redness to the face.
Now, would you did you say that, some of the redness in face could have come from when he, fell to the ground, when you pushed him to the ground?
Sure, yeah, I could see that from falling on the ground and probably, bruising, if there is, bruising that you could obtain from falling.
Were you aware if, the defendant was seen by Dallas Fire and Rescue?
Yes, he complained of injuries to his wrists, and we did request for Dallas Fire Rescue to arrive on scene.
Was Dallas Fire and Rescue already out there?
They were sent out to a call just around that same corner where I initially contacted Perez Valero with the balance displacement. They were right there at the intersection, so I was like, we could just go ask them once they're done, but they were out there with another subject, unrelated.
Did you have to call for another, EMS?
We did request one, but like I said, they were right there, so it was like, they're gonna come to us after they're done there.
And are you aware if the defendant ended up having to be treated at Baylor Hospital?
Yes, he was transported, and I rode in the ambulance with him to the Baylor Hospital.
Now, is that typical? Anybody that's seen by DFR is automatically transported to Baylor Hospital?
Yes, it's pretty typical.
May I approach her?
You may.
This time, the state is going to offer state's exhibits 31A and 32A for record purposes.
No objection.
All right, states exhibits 31A and 32A, are they pictures or?
Judge, no, they're just the state's notice of intent, business record affidavits of the DFR records and the Baylor Hospital records, and then I'm gonna introduce state's exhibit 31 and 32 for all purposes, which are the actual records.
All right, the business records affidavits are admitted for record purposes only.
Any objection to state's exhibit 31
Oh.
and 32?
I guess I'd object to relevance, but
Judge, they're self-authenticating and non-testimonial.
I'm sorry, there, states exhibits 31 and 32.
Yes, Your Honor, the DFR records and the Baylor Hospital records of the defendant.
Which one is which?
31 is the DFR records, 32 is the hospital, or the hospital records.
All right. Your objection is overruled. States exhibits 31 and 32 are admitted for all purposes.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
So this is State's Exhibit 31, page 1. So what date and time do we see here, Officer Santana?
Says May 21st, 2022, at 2:27:58.
And that is at 2:27 in the morning?
Yes, correct.
So after basically your body camera ends about 2:20, less than 10 minutes later, DFR is, according to these records, able to treat the
Correct.
defendant, correct?
Yes.
And then we see first name and last name, date of birth, correct? And then the area where DFR was dispatched to, correct? 100 North
Yes.
Crowder Street.
Yes, that's correct.
And is that area in Dallas County in the state of Texas?
It is.
And the narrative here, can you read this for the jury?
It says, 26-year-old Hispanic male, chief complaint, wrist pain. Patient was found in Dallas Police Department custody, complaining of wrist pain. Patient transported to Baylor Hospital in the Dallas Police Department custody.
Okay. Now there are acronyms on here, and were you just reading those acronyms out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're familiar with those acronyms?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you, since you testified that you had to ride in the ambulance with the defendant
I did, yes.
to Baylor? Okay. In riding in the ambulance, do you have to sign, basically saying that you're gonna be riding with the suspect in custody?
Yes, I do.
So on page 5 of State Exhibit 31, do we see your signature here?
That is my signature and that is my badge number with the Dallas Police Department.
And do you do this on a piece of paper or a tablet?
It's like an iPad, like a knockoff version iPad tablet, so it's not the best. You know, you have to press real hard to even get it through.
So you're saying Dallas Police Department can't afford iPad?
I'm not sure.
Or DMR? Okay, so, now in State's Exhibit 32, first page, we see it's the affidavit from Baylor. It says 51 pages of records, correct?
Yes, it does.
And, excuse me, you testified that the defendant complained of wrist pain, correct?
Yes, I did.
So we see that this was he was being treated for, correct?
Correct.
And then we also see here identifying information of the defendant, correct? His name here
His name,
and his address
yes, I see that.
and a phone number, correct?
Correct.
So what I've just shown you on page 3 here, this address of, what is that address here?
It says 4332 Longview Avenue, Dallas, Texas, 75227, 3026.
Sure. So that's listed as the address of the defendant on these medical records, correct?
Yes, it does.
Now, is that address different from 100 North Crowder Street in Dallas, Texas?
Yes, that is a different address.
Then on page 4 of these records, we see a diagnosis here. What do you see for diagnosis number 1?
It says wrist pain primary,
Okay, and then diagnosis number 2?
alcoholic intoxication.
cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Officer Santana, good morning again.
All right.
So that little exercise we just spent time on, we learned that the defendant's address and
Yes.
he was diagnosed with wrist pain and alcohol intoxication. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And how is that relevant to why we're here today?
To show that we treated him for his complaints that he gave and that he was intoxicated.
Okay, so it's relevant to a material issue in this case.
Yeah, I'm gonna object to
I'll move
the
on, Your
proper
Honor.
questioning.
Sustained.
Let's talk about this night. You were working on a task force, right?
Yes, sir.
And what time did you arrive in Deep Ellum?
So the task force, it starts before my start of shift. Since I was told prior to arriving that I would be working that night, so I have to arrive to my substation in Northwest, and from there, pick up a vehicle, and then drive to Central where the briefing will be taking place. So between the time of arriving, I would say 7 p.m. was when I arrived at the substation to transport, or to get to the Central, and then to get to the intersection was around 9 or 10 p.m.
So you go to get your assignment, then you get to your actual assigned location,
Yes.
9 or 10 p.m., and then you're there pretty much until closing time.
Exactly.
Okay. And your location was at where?
It was Crowdus and Town.
Okay. When you arrive at your location, are you in a squad car?
I'm in my squad car.
Do you have a partner with you?
I had, we were partnered with Navarro, but we weren't in the same vehicle, no, sir.
Did you get both your squad cars there?
Yes, sir.
When your squad cars are parked there, are you blocking the intersection, or you just parked along the curb?
Parked blocking the intersection, yes, sir.
Because you want to kind of direct traffic around that
Exactly.
area. You want to
Yes.
close off certain streets, so only foot traffic can go through.
Foot traffic and to avoid wrong-way drivers to, cause damage.
Part of the, your presence and having kind of an area of town inundated with police officers that acts as kind of a deterrent
Yes, sir.
for bad actors, is that right?
Correct.
And there are a lot of people out even at 2 o'clock in the morning, is that right?
Yeah, there's a good group of people out there.
And even on your body cam footage, we see a lot of people just standing around, walking down the street,
Yes.
even through the police presence, right?
Correct.
Are your patrol lights activated when you're blocking the intersection?
Yes, they're on the cruise mode, so they're not flashing. They're just a solid blue and red lights.
So they're not, are they moving at all?
No, sir.
They're just on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We heard a little testimony about how body cameras become activated. Are they
Yes.
manually activated?
They are.
Or if you're within 15 feet of the squad car with its lights on, are they activated?
Correct, yes, sir, but the lights have to be activated, not already on, so you'd have to flick it to activate it, but if they're already activated, you can shut your body camera off. Or if you put it in cruise mode, it's not going to activate instantly.
That's what I was getting at. So when you're at your station and the lights are on, it's in cruise mode, so that's not activating your body camera, even
Yes.
though you're standing next to the
Yes.
car. Okay. Before I go any further, what all did you review before coming to testify today? Did you review your report?
I did read my report, yes, sir.
And did you review your body cam footage?
I did, yes, sir.
And did the prosecutor show you any other videos of any kind, body cam or other?
I saw the video that was submitted to me with the in-car camera. I saw a cam that was, front vehicle camera, and then I saw the, I want to say it's 14,
Okay,
with Detective Hale.
okay.
I saw that video. Yes.
So, let's just start from when you said yesterday that you and Navarro were in your station, the lieutenant shows up,
Yes, sir.
and when the lieutenant shows up, you stand up a little taller, make sure your shirt's tucked in, and
Yeah,
tie's
right,
straight.
okay, gotta look at it, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you gotta look good. The boss is showing up at your location, right?
Yes, sir.
And he's talking to you about,
Going
it's
home.
closing time,
Yes, sir.
and we got 15 more minutes until we can go home, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You said that an individual kind of walks through you, like you and Navarro and Quinlan are standing kind of in a group, and this man walks kind of through your space.
Yes, sir.
And that man ended up being Stephen Arouse, is that
Correct.
right?
Yes, sir.
He was wearing a black t-shirt.
Black shirt, blue jeans.
And did he have companions with him?
He was the only one that had walked through us.
Okay, but did he have companions with him?
Not that I knew at the time, no, sir.
Did you learn later he had companions with him?
Yes, later.
You said when you noticed him, he was walking kind of with determination,
With a purpose.
with a purpose.
Correct.
And was he kind of skip walking, running, jogging, or did it appear as if he was kind of moving to catch up with somebody?
Yeah, it was more like a pace walk,
Okay.
but yeah, like to catch up to somebody who was, just catch up.
That drew your attention, just the fact that he walked by you kind of with purpose.
Yes, sir. If somebody was walking around past me, not directly between the other officers and I would have, suspected or believed it was in.
He had no I'm sorry to speak over you. He had no concerns about the fact that you were police officers. He was just
Correct.
going to where he was going.
Yes,
You said that you heard an argument,
I did.
and how loud was this argument?
It was loud enough for me to hear from the intersection.
How far away were you?
Probably, or approximately, and I'm not good with feet, probably good 50 to 80 feet from where we were standing.
Would it surprise you that Lieutenant Quinlan said about 50 feet?
No.
To your understanding, was Lieutenant Quinlan's back turned to this encounter that was taking place?
I couldn't really remember exactly how Lieutenant Mulder was standing. I just know that he was with us, yes.
You and Navarro noticed this interaction about to transpire, is that right?
Yes,
Did you start walking that direction immediately?
not when he walked past us, but when the interaction had already began. Yes,
When you
sir.
heard the loud,
arguing and the vulgar language.
okay.
Yes.
Who was using the vulgar language?
I couldn't tell from my distance from where we were at, but we could hear multiple voices arguing and multiple vulgar, offensive language.
After this whole night was over, you had an opportunity to speak with Stephen Arouse, you had an opportunity to see my client and these other individuals that were with Stephen Arouse, is that
Yes.
right? And did you come to understand my client is about 5'6", is that right?
Correct.
And these other individuals were a little bit bigger?
Yeah, I mean, compared to my size, they were probably, compared to the client,
Yeah.
yes, sir, they were approximately a little bigger.
You've seen the surveillance footage of the business that shows this from kind of a bird's eye view of the offense? You saw that video?
Oh, yes, I did see that video.
Okay. Did it appear to you on the video who was being the aggressor?
Can't really say, sir. From the video, again, I saw it 2 weeks ago. I can't say, no.
Did it look like somebody was being, well, who, was somebody pursuing someone else?
Yes, it was Stephen Arouse who approached, your client right there at the sidewalk road area.
You said that you saw an altercation.
Correct.
Did you see them physically contact one another?
I did.
Did you see my client put his hand out to Stephen Arouse?
I did.
Did you see Stephen Arouse punch my client?
I saw him put his hands on him. I didn't see a punch. I did see arms swinging. I can't say where the punch or contact was made.
When you heard the yelling, did you shout for them to calm down?
Correct. I said, just saying, hey, break it up. Hey, stop, break it up.
And you said you were 50 to 80 feet away when that happened?
Correct.
Could they hear you?
I was trying to yell as loud as if they were yelling at each other.
Was Navarro yelling as well?
Yes, he was. We were both yelling.
This whole interaction takes place in less than a few seconds, right?
Correct. It was really
Y'all hear a big pop,
Yes,
which you immediately recognize.
as a gunshot, yes, sir.
Did you see a gun at that point?
At that moment, I did not.
And as soon as that went off, did people scatter?
Scattered.
Did they move away from that location? Maybe not
Probably.
scattering, but they walked away.
They took a couple steps back, yes, sir.
Did you see where Stephen Arouse went?
Stephen Arouse probably moved less than 10 feet from where that initial encounter with your client was at.
Did you see where his two friends went?
I saw his other friend take probably more steps back than Stephen Arouse, yes.
By this point, how quickly do you get up to that scene once you heard the gunshot?
I want to say it was pretty immediate, approximately pretty immediate.
Okay, and what was your attention focused on at that point?
Trying to see, because I recognize the sound to be a gunshot, I wanted to know who has a gun, if anyone was hurt, or if there were any injuries that needed to be, treated.
To your knowledge, at that point, you didn't know if anyone had been shot.
I didn't, no, sir.
You didn't know who had the gun because you
I
couldn't.
I'm sorry.
This young lady has to write everything down, and if we speak over each other, it's impossible. So,
Okay.
and I'll get blamed, so I'm just telling you now. You didn't see who had the gun at that point.
I did not.
So would you agree that there were 5 people in the vicinity of where this gunshot went off?
I would say there were probably less than 5.
Well, you've seen the video,
Yes.
and you know my client was with another person.
Okay, yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you disagree with that?
No, no,
And Stephen Arouse was there
with another individual.
with 2 other individuals, correct?
Okay, yes, sir.
So that's 5 people.
Okay, yeah, approximately 5.
Is that about right?
Sure, yes, sir.
And at that point, any one of them could have had a gun, to your knowledge.
Correct.
The gunshot goes off and everybody kind of backs away from that spot, right?
Yes, sir.
People are pointing to my client as he's making his way down the sidewalk, is that right?
As he's running away, yes, sir.
Right. You said he was kind of crouch walking, running. Is he full sprint running?
It is not a full sprint.
Were you sprinting after him?
After the 5 individuals had scattered, as you said, he was the only individual to have ran.
So that's
away
what,
from the group.
that's what drew your attention.
Yes, and
He-
people pointing,
So,
more than one individual pointing to the direction of your client. Yes, sir.
right, several people pointed at him, and that's what drew your attention, that's why you pursued him, right?
Yes, sir.
And your partner Navarro kind of went to the other individuals, is that right?
Correct.
You said that you had your firearm
I
drawn and then holstered, and then you sprinted after my client, is that right?
Correct.
At some point, as my client makes his way down the block, you say he ducks between an SUV, that black SUV that we see at the corner,
Yes, sir.
and there's a vehicle right behind that SUV. He goes in between those vehicles.
That pickup truck, yes, sir.
Is it a pickup truck?
It was a pickup truck, yes, sir.
Okay. When he cuts through those 2 vehicles, how close were you to him?
I was pretty immediate right behind him, yes, sir.
Okay. Unfortunately, that doesn't answer my question. As close as you are to me right now?
Closer.
How close?
Probably maybe less than the table's length of the table that's in front of you displayed.
6 feet?
Yeah, 6 feet to the measurement, sir.
So as he stepped off the curb, you said he ducked down.
Can you repeat that?
He was on the sidewalk,
Okay,
is that right?
yes, sir.
And then when he went between the vehicles, he had to step off the curb,
Correct.
in between the vehicles,
Yes, sir.
and did he duck down?
He was already in a crouched position.
Oh, okay.
And from when he was running, it was the same crouch. It was getting
So he didn't-
slowed down.
You didn't see him duck at any moment?
No, sir.
He was just kind of crouched the whole way, and then went between the vehicles, and that's where you were 6 feet behind him,
Correct.
and you,
Approximately 6 feet, yes, sir.
at that point, did he remove something from his waistband?
From his waistband, I don't know, sir.
Okay, did you see him remove, was anything from his clothing or his person?
From his person, in his hand, I saw a firearm.
Okay, was he gripping the firearm?
He had the firearm in his hand. I
Okay,
would say he was holding it and gripping it, yes,
was
sir.
he running down the sidewalk with the firearm in his hand, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, at that point, no,
So at some point, when you first observed him,
because he had his back to me.
but he's running, did you see a firearm while he was running?
No, I didn't.
You saw the firearm for the first time when he went between the vehicles and threw
In
something
his
in,
hand, yes, sir.
and you said you heard it.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
saw the gun in his hand, which is when I unholstered my pistol again, because I see him with the pistol. I'm not gonna be, if I had to come to a deadly force or, God forbid, I'm not gonna be.
How long did you see him with the pistol before you saw him discard it?
Probably approximately 1 second with the pistol in his hand.
So when you saw the pistol, you You took your gun back out,
Yes, sir.
and then when you saw him throw the pistol, did you reholster your pistol?
I did not know, sir.
Because this all happened like that.
Really quickly, yes, sir.
He enters the street and starts to cross the street, is that right?
Correct.
And you came up behind him and gave him the balance displacement,
Yes, sir.
right? And so you had your gun in your hand when you did that.
Yes, sir.
And then when he was on the ground, you get on and you holster.
Correct.
Did your partner Navarro come up at that point?
Yes, sir, and other officers.
And Quinlan and then some other people, is that right?
Correct.
You said that you were, at that point, kind of unfamiliar with body-worn cameras.
Yes, sir.
And do you remember when you activated your camera?
It was after I had retrieved the gun, the firearm.
The camera shows you retrieving the gun.
Yes.
And then what you do is you look at when the initial camera starts, you add 30 seconds, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that's, so,
I don't add the 30 seconds, it's just automatically manufactured with Axon.
bad way to explain it, but when the camera starts, you can pretty much state to a certainty that the camera was activated 30 seconds in the future from that moment.
Correct.
Because it goes back and records 30 seconds prior.
Exactly.
You understand? So, okay. So my client's down, officers are assisting you, you get up. When the body cam footage for you starts, you're back kind of almost behind the SUV.
Okay, yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes.
And what were you doing over there?
I was looking for the firearm.
Okay, so you start behind the SUV and then camera footage starts, you come around the SUV, and at the right-hand front tire where that grate is in the gutter,
Yes.
that's where you locate the gun.
Correct.
You clear the gun, make it safe, right?
Yes.
And then you walk back over to where the other officers are located, and at some point, that's where you activate the camera.
Correct.
And that's where the sound kicks in immediately, is that right? Okay. There are a lot of people standing on the corner right there.
There.
Okay. You would agree with that?
Correct.
And the other people that were present and involved in this little altercation, did you interview any of them? Did you speak to any of them?
In the crowd?
No. Sorry. Starting when this all started, the altercation.
Yes.
Did you interview any of those people?
With Stephen Arouse? Yes, sir.
Just him? Did you interview his two friends?
I did not know, sir.
Okay. Did anybody pat those individuals down?
I know Stephen's friends with the ankle monitor, that I didn't get his name. He was also detained by other officers, but I did not speak to them.
Do you know anything about why he had an ankle monitor on?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. In fact, in some of your footage, we see that individual sitting in front of the squad car.
Yeah, I briefly walked
Did
over and walked away.
That wasn't my client, that was one of the other witnesses, right?
Correct.
And he had an ankle monitor on.
Correct.
He was kind of dressed similarly to my client.
White shirt, yes, sir.
Give me 1 second. How would you describe your interaction with Stephen Arouse? How would you describe him? Was he agitated?
Yes, he was upset. He was agitated, and just continuing the conversation with him, I could tell he had been drinking that as well.
Did you think, aside from, he said it was his birthday, right?
Yeah.
And he just wanted to go home.
Correct.
And when you and Navarro were speaking to him, I believe Navarro was telling him, I saw you guys getting into it. And was he denying that?
Yes, he was denying.
Okay. Did you find him to be a credible individual?
Credible as in his statements?
Truthful, honest.
That moment I didn't, no, sir.
Was he respectful to you?
He was agitated and intoxicated.
Were you present when Officer Navarro was writing him a citation?
Briefly, yes, sir.
And did you hear how he spoke with Officer Navarro?
Briefly.
Okay, and what did he say to Officer Navarro?
He was upset that he was receiving a citation, from when the citation was given to him, or when
Right.
Officer Navarro was writing the citation?
Right, both. Was he calling Officer Navarro any particular name?
Yeah, he was calling me names. I can't repeat, or I don't remember the names that he was telling Navarro.
Okay. Again, you've seen the video surveillance footage from the business that shows this street, right?
Correct.
And I think you said you saw it, the most recent time you saw it was 2 weeks ago, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Having spoken with prosecutors and prepping for this, for your testimony, I mean, do you have an opinion as to who initiated this confrontation?
From the video, it looks like Stephen Arouse had approached your client, yes, sir.
And would you agree with me that he approached him in kind of with violent intentions?
Correct. He had approached him for an encounter. I'm not sure, I can't say that they were violent.
Well, did it turn out being violent?
It became physical, yes, sir, and it did become violent when the gun was discharged.
Okay. Just one moment, please.
Yeah.
Just so I'm clear, when did you activate your body cam?
It was when your client was being detained in handcuffs.
So, not when you detained him.
No, sir. So detaining, when I put my hands on him and he fell to the ground, other officers quickly approached, and then my instinct, quick instinct was, I need to retrieve this firearms that I just saw your client display or discard. So from there, I entrusted in the officers to detain the suspect or your client to immediately go recover that firearm.
Then you recovered it, and they
Yes.
came back to where he was,
Correct.
and then,
I looked down and saw that my body cam was not activated.
that's when you activated.
Correct.
So you had displaced him, officers assisted, you got up, when found the gun, came back, that's when you activated it, is that right?
Within seconds, yes, sir.
Okay. After discussing kind of, it appears that there were quite a number of officers out at the scene, is that right?
Yes, the discharge of the firearm attracted multiple officers.
Right. And the primary people involved in this were you, Navarro, and Quinlan. Would you agree with that?
Correct, sir.
And some other officers assisted in certain aspects of this investigation, but you and Navarro and Quinlan discussed potential charges. You remember that on the video?
Yes, I did.
And Lieutenant Quinlan was like, well, you know, there's clearly disorderly conduct, right?
Yes, sir.
And UCW, which is a what?
Unlawful carry of a weapon.
Right. And what is discharging of a weapon in a municipality?
Say again? Discharging.
Did he mention that one as
Oh,
well?
he did, yes, sir.
Okay. And you ended up writing the report,
Correct, yes, sir.
and Navarro didn't write the report?
No, sir.
Okay. And you've had training through the police academy and kind of on-the-job training on how to write reports?
Yes, sir.
And you note that it's important to put every pertinent detail in your report,
Correct.
and no detail is too small, would you agree?
Say again, sir?
No detail is too
Oh,
small.
yes, sir, no details.
And this is the first time you've ever testified, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You said earlier, the first time being on trial, but you're not on trial. First time you
Yeah, I meant
testified.
to testify, yes, sir.
So, did you put in your report anything about hearing the gun clatter under the car?
I did not, no, sir.
Okay, did you think that was an important detail?
Yes, it could be an important detail to it.
And you remember it now, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
this was 2 years ago,
Yes, sir.
but you failed to mention it in the report.
Yes, sir, I did.
You do mention in the report that you saw him crouch down and place something under the car.
Yes, sir.
Okay. believe that's all I have, Your Honor. I'll pass witness.
Any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor, Officer Santana, counsel just asked you about the, hearing the cling. You recall when you were out there, or do you recall when you were out there on the scene, with Lieutenant Quillen and Officer Navarro, and they were asking you about, did you see the gun? Do you recall saying, yeah, I saw him tossing, and then I heard the clink, clink, clink on the metal grate? You recall telling?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, and that was captured on your body worn camera, correct?
Yes,
And so you reviewed that body worn camera, prior to your testimony, correct?
yes, ma'am.
So it's not, it may not be a report, right?
Correct,
But it's in the body worn camera
correct.
attached to the case file that the state has and counsel has, correct?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
There was, just so I'm clear, there was no body cam footage other than what we've already seen, right? There wasn't?
Of the pursuit, sir,
Correct.
there is no body
Is
camera.
there any body cam footage from you from earlier that night in an unrelated incident or anything like that?
I couldn't tell you, sir.
When you go back to your station, you basically remove the body cam, put it on a portal, or like a docking station of some kind. And from there, who knows what happens to it. You have to type in a code to download and save that information.
I don't know, sir, it gets uploaded, not manually, but just automatically gets uploaded.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bob. We'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
No further questions
May this witness be finally excused?
from the state.
Subject to recall, but we can put,
All right, officer, you are free to leave and go about your business, but make sure that the prosecutor and or investigator have your phone number, because if we need you back, then you've got to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Officer Santana, you are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call your next witness.
No further approach.
You may. Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and take our morning break. We will be at recess for no longer than 10 minutes.
All rise.
All right, you may be seated.
During the break, I want us to know if an investigator could print your client.
I mean, I think, yeah, you guys do whatever you want to do. I mean,
It's a part.
are you asking for my consent? Then I'm not giving it, but I don't think you need my consent. so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I just wanted to let counsel know that the investigator's here to do that.
I just-
I want to take the opportunity to do it so we can kind of flow right into, don't have to take another break.
I mean, it's, yeah.
Yes.
Who do you have to do it?
I'm sorry? I'm waiting on my DA to come down. For the bond issue. Maybe we should take it up at the break here. It shouldn't be long. Thank you.
Your Honor, can we
What, yes?
do
Get on the record? Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We are on the record outside the presence and hearing of the jury.
State is asking for my consent for their investigator to print my client, and I am not giving them my consent. So I don't know what they intend to do or how they intend to acquire my client's fingerprints without some kind of court order or a search warrant.
And what says the state?
Well, Your Honor, it is typical procedure for the defendant to be printed by an investigator or an agent of the Dallas VA's office in reference to priors. And so, state is just requesting the court to allow our investigator to print Mr. Breslin.
He has a right to privacy, and unless they have a warrant for it or an order from the court, we're not consenting to that.
All right, well, I will think about that while we're on break.
Thank you.
Have you gone with this one?
Sure.
Just gonna find out, yes. It wasn't, he was writing, I don't think he was like, what?
Oh, no. I thought it meant.
No, I don't think he just walked around with it. That's what the magazine, with the magazine, I believe, the pictures.
And then just touch it. I need a glove.
I mean, I don't know.
Printing it or anything.
I don't want you to bring them in, we want everybody to keep.
I'm pretty sure that.
You did it on the other side.
What a hunk of shit.
I don't know if you want to put it in here first. Yes, sir. You want to put it in? No. We'll get some scissors, so I'll have you do that.
We're just getting our documents.
That's something admin does, that's something the property does. The only one I pay attention to is like case number and that's it.
She's like, okay. I couldn't remember. Is she? I think Judge last step turns about him being chronic, but I mean, he's in custody, so. We have the papers. This will actually, since you're having, let me go over all this with you. So this is going to be for all purposes, but this is maybe. Yes, we can run hard from the.
She's like a detective.
Anything specific about that you wanted to?
Patrick, I'm admitting the other DPS fingerprints for record purposes, because they're all came together, they were certified, so I'm admitting them for record purpose. Yeah, they're all they're not, they're the other priors. And so I just removed the one for the actual jurisdictional paragraph. But I'm gonna admit them for record purposes, since it's a those ones that were mailed, Hillary got those by mail. And then,
Did you wanna see your client also now? Or did-
Not yet.
Okay.
and I'm gonna do the same for the pin packet, I'm gonna offer it for record purposes, it includes the other office number. And then the one I've just redacted, that cause number. And just include the wire, so I just redacted that, so that is for all purposes.
Did you call samples back?
Oh, not yet, I'm finna call down. This dude out there in the hallway, man, that dude crazy. He said, hey, man. You want them blowing something? I said, ain't no jail, man.
What do you know about a woman? Oh, he been in jail.
I'm sure. Okay, so, sample can go back?
Yeah.
Is that the only one?
Did you call,
Clutch
you
failed,
called,
round two. So Hicks is all we got left.
that's gonna be,
Okay, you do that, then for record purposes.
that's Hicks.
Yeah, it should certify, so I didn't want to, I did it for record, so, because it says 7 pages.
Make love from how
This
you
is not
got.
7 pages, this is 1 page.
CC six, deputy
You'll
seven. I
see
know
that the
that
other
I
6
got
pages
it,
are
I
contained in
figured.
the record.
This probably one time my baby car, his court told me he was on the soon. The samples, he can go over there.
This is the one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And she's here for Hicks, when she ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything non-common trials?
Yeah, man, I get over there and Lewis, he was talking so loud. I looked up at the judge, I said, hey, Judge, how you doing? Judge, hello, how you doing?
Yeah, he bought the property.
Goodness, the dude, he was like yelling.
Did did y'all hear about the big melee out in the hallway yesterday?
I heard something about it a little bit.
Yeah. There was like a bond hearing, like in our, I think it was across the hall.
Oxford,
No, maybe it was down the hall,
two of
262,
them.
maybe
I
one.
think they have a trial, some.
Well, it was just a bond hearing on a murder case. And
Right.
there was a fight between the two families.
Yeah.
And there were like 50 or 60, and that's what I heard. There were a lot of bailiffs brought up here because they were just like, we were completely oblivious.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was like one of my former clients, who I don't represent anymore, was involved in it. I was like, "Good Lord."
Wow.
I feel bad. I mean, the thing is, this is a busy case.
I'm not in on this, man. I don't know what y'all
What
got.
do you do?
He just dials in. Why you didn't tell us? Why you come over here? Look, man.
Yeah, does it matter?
Perfect.
I said, man, y'all beef.
You asked him?
What's beef?
What did he say?
I ain't in there. Same thing you be saying about him. He say about you.
All rise.
Just. Just be peaceful. That's what he said.
He happy. Cause see, his got it before me.
Do you have your DA?
Yeah, she just wanted to get paper.
Okay.
He prefer me.
Yeah. You want your client out? Is he gonna come out? I'm glad you didn't go.
docket sheet and everything? Oh, somehow lost my copy.
That was, I can't.
This case change? You wanna come, well,
I've got one.
I just don't think I have the one
I
that
have
has
correction
correction.
highlighted, it looks all pretty.
Oh, yeah, cause I think mine says one.
Is this the amended?
It doesn't have the O.
Well, but I'm.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, he didn't say something. He would say something. He would say something.
But when I go over there,
Quiet.
I'll talk to Rose.
What is the bond issue?
Judge, I'm asking for PR bonds. The state failed to indict in 90 days.
I'm sorry?
The state failed to indict under 90 days.
Thank All right, come on up on the Hicks case.
Judge, you want to see Hicks or?
You don't want Hicks out here, right?
Do you want him out? No.
I'll go back and look quickly.
Okay. Good morning. All right, this is a bond hearing that is off the record. The defense is here stating that the defendant has been in custody for more than 90 days without indictment. What says the state regarding that?
Yes, Judge, that's actually what Ms. Trust just let me know. I prepared it for a regular bond hearing, not realizing that he'd been in custody, so I was just gonna confirm those dates for the court so that you could have for the docket sheet, just based on the nature of the offense, I'd like to make it as
I have the dates.
concrete as possible.
Judge, he was booked into the Dallas County Jail January 4th. 90 days was up April 3rd.
If that's on both cases?
Yes.
All of it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to get my name.
I'm sorry, that was on April
3rd.
3rd.
This is the second one of these particular charges that I've had happen on.
I can't hear you, what?
This is the second one of these on these particular charges that that's happened on.
I hate on that one.
Yeah, the internet's so crazy. I get a signal here standing by judge. I don't get a signal over there.
We don't have stuff.
Ah.
Hey, somebody's bracelet is right here.
Somebody,
Gia bracelet.
Yeah, he's,
Okay, I'm just, looked like it must have just fell off, okay.
he has it right there. He's defending, trying.
This is so frustrating when nothing works.
I'll pull them up on AIS real
Thank you,
quick.
Judge, I just, I'm happy to step in the workroom and flood on one of their computers too, for some reason.
All right, well,
I can't get on the internet
I'm
out here.
just gonna do it right here, and if he's been in for 90 days, then the defense is asking for a PR bond, which I will grant if he has been in for that length of time without indictment. Kirktrick.
Yes.
I'm not showing him in jail.
He's in your holdover. Does that help? Hello,
And
Dallas.
I
How are you?
understand
All of
that.
these systems are in jail.
No, do you know his date of birth?
I can get it quick.
Yeah, there's nobody by that name. Excuse me, gentlemen, what, What booking number do you have for
With
Hicks?
Hicks,
Hold on, let me get there. All right, yes.
his booking number is 220-18-539.
5,
903.
5,
Oh, wait, hold on, I'm sorry. Hicks, I'm sorry, Judge. It's 240.
Hold on. All right. Hicks is, hold on. You can't backspace on this program. All right, Hicks is what?
24,
Uh-huh,
then 3 zeros.
uh-huh. Oh,
And then it's
1 minute. 000
469.
469.
Yes, ma'am.
There he is. All right, he was booked in on 1/4/24 and is still currently in the county jail. Let me look him up on Odyssey to see if any case has been filed.
They have, Judge, they were indicted, April 17th. That's still 14 days past when the state had it.
Yes, all right, what are,
They're big charges, Judge.
all right.
I wish I had an argument that if it's 90 days, I don't.
I think your motion is untimely in that he's now been indicted. Are you on a bond reduction or?
In the alternative, yes, Judge, and I don't know if this makes a difference for the court. In the other case that I had this happen in, Judge Collins did grant the PR bonds, even though they were passed and had been indicted.
And I understand that other judges might have a different opinion about what the law is and how it applies, but I find your request to be untimely in that your opportunity to request a PR bond when he'd been in jail without indictment at 90 days would have been on April 3rd of this year. But now that the defendant has been indicted and you did not lodge an objection until today,
We were previously set, Judge, but the court was not available.
I have a sign that anyone can address any bond issues in this court, and I have a standing order to such. So anyone could have addressed these issues.
Then we would ask in the alternative, Judge, that the bonds be reduced to $10,000 each.
All right, they are currently set at 150,000.
Yes.
Is there any objection to the request to reduce the bonds?
Judge, to 10,000, the state would object to that just based on the nature of these offenses. Serious allegations, Your Honor, involving minors, and alleged prostitution activities compelling. I'm looking at the defendant's alleged history here, and it looks like all we have is a juvenile matter that took place involving an aggravated robbery. Outside of that, there's not any adjudicated offenses that the state's aware of. His risk assessment did come back at a 0, and I've got a copy of that for the court if you'd like one.
No, thank you.
But just based on the nature of the offense, if there's any type of I have, based on the information that we're aware of, that he's, this individual is originally out of Houston, Texas. I don't know if he has any ties to this community, to the Dallas County community that we have testimony on, or any type of proffering that I'm not objecting to.
Judge, he does have family here, and they're out in the hall, actually. I just didn't bring them in because you had the jury in here, so.
But,
How old is your client?
97, this is his birthday.
I'm sorry?
He was born in 1997.
All right,
I'm trying to
he is
do
now
math.
26. All right, does he have a job?
Not currently, since he's been in jail since January.
Then I am ordering that, I'm gonna agree to reduce the bond to, $75,000 in each case. And no contact with minors.
The state would request an ELM, Your Honor.
Yes. And, electronic leg monitor with house arrest. Does your client have any children?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, actually, you know what, I'm gonna reduce, 75 is so high, I'm gonna reduce it to 50,000. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's, because he doesn't have a criminal history, but, all right.
He's there Thursday.
CDC 6, that South Street Left Mercy. God bless you, how are you?
And do not possess any firearms, no new arrest or charges.
We got 410, yes, sir.
And no contact with the alleged complainants.
Well,
Yes, sir.
let me just say you time, we in trial. Okay. Yes, sir, that's okay.
All right, I will take care of this paperwork. Can you please get the prosecution, Mr. Jordan, would you mind? Did you need something?
Yes, it's very small.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
You want me to turn those in?
Well, I've got, because I gotta fill
Oh.
out the forms and everything, so I'll get them to him online.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Michael Martin, you have his plea paperwork in your drawer.
Yes, I do.
So I understand, no, not yet. I understand that we have a new prosecutor. I spoke with her a few days ago to say, hey, what's going on?
Okay.
Because I was like, my client, we've already done everything. The judge has his paperwork literally in her drawer. But with a new prosecutor, I know how that can be. So he's leaving the office.
Oh, I didn't know.
So I spoke with her. I think her name is Sarah, I believe.
So,
I told her, like, hey, my client wants to get out of the county. If it's going to take a while, we can just let him go and writ him back. So she's supposed to talk to Crystal, her supervisor, about that, so we can figure out what we're going to do.
okay.
So hopefully we'll have some type of response
Yeah,
next
I mean,
week.
this was the deal, Eddie offered it, et cetera. What is the new DA's name?
Her name is Sarah something.
Okay, all right, well, thanks for letting me know. But
Okay.
yeah, hopefully we can get it on its way. If you need help with that, then you can set it for a status hearing, and I can make it last higher.
Yeah, that's the next step in my mind, but I just wanted to let you know first.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
good day.
You too. All right, we're back on the record. Oh, we need the defendant, please.
He getting,
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, we are back on the record outside the presence and hearing of the jury. Ms. Moore, do you still need the defendant's fingerprints? Or want to take them right now?
Yes, Your Honor.
And can you explain to the court what the need for that is right now?
Well, Your Honor, they're for identification purposes. It's not an unreasonable search, and it's for limited purposes, limited purpose rather of identification. The defendant is in custody, so his right to privacy is diminished. And I do have some case law that the Supreme Court has explicitly stated that this type of evidence is non-testimonial, and therefore forcing its production is not considered compelled self-incrimination as contemplated by the Fifth Amendment. That's a Supreme Court case. Schmerber versus California, 384 U.S. 757. And the law also states that when a suspect is in custody, they may be compelled to submit to a variety of searches for identification evidence without a warrant being obtained.
Are his fingerprints not available from the jail?
Well, Your Honor,
If you
the
don't,
purpose of
do you know if his fingerprints are missing?
yeah, so what I do have are the fingerprints for the actual the prior, the jurisdictional paragraph, as well as his pen packet, and the fingerprints from the actual prior for the date of the offense. I'm trying to get a fingerprint for today so they can be compared to the fingerprints from that prior. And so I'm
Hold on, since the defendant is in custody, do you have his fingerprints from the date he was arrested?
no, let me double check.
Are those unavailable?
One second, Your Honor. I think Whaley had it. Do you have the phone? Your Honor, I don't believe we have all the DPS fingerprints from all of the defendants.
That wasn't my
prior.
question.
That's what I don't believe that we do.
Do you not have them because they are missing, or because you simply did not subpoena or request them?
Just, I did not specifically request them. So I can't speak to whether or not they're missing, as far as whether the jail has them or not, because I did not request them.
All right. So you were unprepared to proceed in proving up any prior conviction of the defendant.
Respectfully, Your Honor, I would disagree. We do have several documentation of the actual prior, which is what the jurisdictional paragraph that is in the indictment. And so based on the case law, the state doesn't need a warrant to get his fingerprints today.
I agree he doesn't, but there must be a need.
Right, and the need would be for identification purposes.
But you haven't attempted to get his fingerprints from anywhere else, like the jail from when he was booked in. And you can't tell me that those are missing.
Right, because I can't speak to whether or not they're missing or not.
Right, because you didn't subpoena them in preparation for trial.
If the court wants to characterize it, I will concede to the court's characterization.
No, that's, I'm not trying to, it's, do you have any other witnesses to call?
Yes,
At
Your
this
Honor.
time?
Have a witness available in the courtroom.
No, based on your case in chief regarding the incident offense.
Yes, I have a witness, Officer Velasquez, in the courtroom.
All right, well, let's go ahead and proceed with his testimony.
You take the stand, and then she'll
jury's not in the hallway, is it?
I have no idea.
No,
They shouldn't be.
can I just look at this real quick?
No, I think it's going to be done, it's with, 5 rounds.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're ready for the jury.
Hey, Mr. Shanice, samples went back, but also green trial and this and that. He's already on that. They told him to call, just call. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Chris, do you have scissors? Okay, great.
Actually, you know what, babe? I do not. Take it to them.
I have some. I don't wanna, Miss Moore, here's some.
Approach.
Yes, I don't wanna leave them here because they'll fall. We're ready.
All right.
All right, you may be seated. All right, officer, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated. You may proceed.
At this time, Your Honor, the state will call Officer Arthur Velasquez. Officer Velasquez, if you could state your first and last name for the record.
Yes, Arthur Velasquez, Custom 11296, Dallas Police.
Okay, can you spell your first name, excuse me, your last name for the record?
Yes, Velasquez is V as in Victor, ELASQUEZ.
And how long you been with, Dallas Police Department?
7 years.
Are you in the patrol division?
Yes, ma'am.
What substation are you assigned to?
Northwest.
Did you go through the same training and experience of the 9-month academy, approximately 6 months of with the field training officer? The jury has heard before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any additional training?
We're constantly getting updated training, but other than that, that's the training we get before we go on the street, yes.
And I want to direct your attention to May 21st, 2022. Were you on shift at the time?
I was working off duty at Eval.
What was your normal shift at the time?
2022, I believe it was the same watch I'm on now, just with the watch I work 8 p.m. to 4 a.m.
So on May 21st, 2020, were you off that particular day?
Yes, I was working extra job as a extra neighborhood patrol. Basically, it's like I was extra police presence in development.
So, you say off-duty job, was that funded by a private company?
It's funded by the Deep Ellum Foundation. Recall, it's basically all the owners that own all the businesses down there to basically pay for it to have us there, prevent any, crimes and stuff like that.
Sure, okay. So were you working that night with a partner?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was your partner?
C. Morris, 10937, Senior Corporal with Dallas Police.
Officer Chase Morris?
Yes, ma'am.
So were both of you working for the Deep Ellum Foundation as extra neighborhood patrol?
Yes, ma'am, we're working together at night.
Did that require you to be in full Dallas Police uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
And so although you were working for the Deep Ellum Foundation, if there was an incident that occurred, were you responsible for, I guess, or what would be your role, I guess, if you were, since it was an off-duty job, if there was an incident that came up?
Well, anytime foundation, if they need some help or anything like that, they also have security out there. If they need us to go give special attention to a certain location, bar. But we also monitor our radios because of all the activities going on down there.
So if there was an, incident involving, Dallas police officers in Deep Ellum, would you assist them working, since you work for the Deep Ellum Foundation?
Yes, ma'am.
You would assist them in the capacity, of a Dallas police officer?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
So back approximately around 2 a.m., a little after, were you working as extra patrol in the Deep Ellum area?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you stationed at the time?
We rode around. I'm not sure where I was when the call came out. We were in Deep Ellum, just in the area, in the vicinity.
At some point, did you receive information, whether it was over the radio or otherwise, for an officer assist?
Yes, ma'am.
And where were you when you received that information?
I was near my patrol car in Deep Ellum, just not exactly where they were, so it took us a short drive to get there.
And so when you get there, is everything already sort of resolved?
It looked like they already had somebody detained by the time we got there. There was plenty of people still out. 2 a.m. was very busy at that time, so everybody's leaving the bars and clubs down there. And so there was still a little bit of chaos, just people talking and trying to interrupt the investigation. But when I got there, they had somebody detained related to this case.
At some point that night, did Officer Santana request for you and Officer Morris to take a firearm that was recovered to the property room?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also take a shell casing that was recovered to the property room?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's just been marked as State's Exhibits 33 and State's Exhibits 34. Do you recognize these exhibits?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
Well, your envelope's gonna have the shell casing that's spent, meaning that it fired. And the other one's gonna be the tag number. It's gonna have the list of pistol, 1 magazine, and 5 live rounds of ammo.
Do we also see your name on State's Exhibit 34?
Yes,
We see it by the delivered by section.
yes, that's correct.
And I'm gonna flip through these for you, but these are State's Exhibits 15 through 26. A little out of order, but 15 through 29. Okay. So on State's Exhibit 26, do you see a tag number associated with this photograph?
Yes, I do. It's a gun tag.
It's a gun tag. And in State's Exhibit 34, do you see that same gun tag number on State's Exhibit 34?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, when you deliver an item to the property room, how do you get the tag number?
There's several different ways you can do it. You can call it in, and they'll have it ready for you, or you can go up there in person and they'll give it to you in person when you go up to the property room.
At some point, were you able to get a tag number for the firearm associated with this case that Officer Santana recovered?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to provide him with that tag number information?
Correct, yes.
Is that tag number listed in State's Exhibit 25, is that the same tag number on State's Exhibit 34?
Yes, that's correct.
It's a little hard to see on State's Exhibit 18 based on the photograph, but can you tell if that's the same?
Yes, it's
Tag
the
number?
same.
Is that the same tag number as State's Exhibit 17
Yes, ma'am.
and then State's Exhibit 18?
Yes, ma'am.
So each of these, are each of these the same tag number listed on State's Exhibit 34?
Yes.
Now, we see this tag number ends in the letter G. Is that for the type of evidence that's contained?
Yes, ma'am. And usually they end anything with a gun with the letter G for gun.
Now, on State's Exhibit 33, we see, what is this form here?
This is another tag. It's a property tag. It's going to be for the spent shell casing. As I mentioned earlier, it's the one that was discharged. So it's just it's like it's a round that's been fired.
And on it, do you see a tag number, property tag number for the firearm that Officer Santana recovered that you delivered to the property?
It's going to have its own tag number aside from the gun tag number.
Does it also list the related tag number of the gun?
Yes, it will relate the other tag number, which it has the gun tag number listed on here as well.
So is the property number, tag number for the shell casing, is that different from the property tag number for the gun?
Yes, they're separate.
Is that because they're different pieces of property?
Correct.
If you don't mind removing the item that's in the bag, Officer Velasquez.
This weapon's already been removed, so they're going to go ahead and remove the empty magazine.
already been rendered safe. We see sort of a zip tie here. Is that a part of the rendering it safe?
Yes, ma'am, we do that for all weapons. We run it through there, through the barrel, and through the slide there. That way it can't be moved. That way it can't be fired.
Now, I'm gonna mark what you just removed from this plastic bag. I'm gonna mark it on the back of this here tag. As states 35. Now, on States Exhibit 35, is that, excuse me, is that the same tag number that you see on States Exhibit 34 under the related tag? Excuse me, States Exhibit 33 under the related tag?
Yes, it's the same as the related tag number.
Is that tag number in States Exhibit 35 NMG?
Yes,
Is that the same tag number that is on States Exhibit 34?
yes,
Now, what do we see on States Exhibit 34? Is this another property form? This white sheet here? This white sheet over the envelope, this is another, is this a similar property form that we see on States Exhibit 33?
yes,
And does it list the items that are related to this tag number?
yes, it does.
Does it list the firearm?
Yes, it lists the firearm.
List the magazine,
Lists one magazine.
as well as the ammunition?
Yes, it has five rounds of ammo.
I'm sorry, what exhibit is that?
States Exhibit 34.
All right, so that's the envelope?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'm going to open, or let me ask this, do you see States Exhibit 34 sealed?
Yes, I do.
Is it sealed with evidence tape?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see States Exhibit 33 sealed with evidence tape?
Yes,
Now, do we also see on States Exhibit 33, do we also see an evidence review tag filled out by you?
yes, that's correct.
And then do we see a date and your initials and badge number on the date that this evidence was reviewed?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I do that, Your Honor, at this time, Officer Velasquez, States Exhibits 15 through 29 that I've shown you. States Exhibit 15 through 29, do they accurately reflect the firearm and the magazine that you deposited into the property room associated with this case?
Yes, it does.
All right, this time the state's going to reoffer States Exhibit 15 through 29 for all purposes.
Any objection?
I'm going to take the witness on board, Iron.
You may.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Velasquez are you?
Good, sir.
Please tell me which exhibits these are. We have 33. This is what? Shell casing.
This will be the Smith shell casing.
And this will be the gun tag, which will have list the pistol, the magazine, and the live rounds and ammo that were not shot.
And this came with this round paper sack.
Yeah, just to carry it over the property.
Gotcha. And this is the weapon, this is the magazine, these are the unspent bullets. This is a spent shell casing, right?
The single shot shell casing is.
Did you bring these from the evidence room or the property?
Yes, the property room.
Did you go get them this morning?
Yes, I did, sir.
When were you requested to go get them?
This morning before trial.
Okay. Were you told to get them anytime before today?
Yes, I went to go get them yesterday, but I was not using trial, so I'll go back to get them today.
15 through 29 are pictures of this evidence.
Correct, sir.
Okay. So, which is the best evidence? The actual evidence or pictures of the evidence?
Usually the actual evidence, sir.
Object to, under the best evidence rule, we are, to these photographs where we have the actual evidence right before us.
Your Honor, at this time, Stacy the 35 has not been admitted into evidence, which is the actual firearm.
But
So
they
the-
certainly can offer.
So as far as the, again, the photograph predicate has been made through Officer Santana, has been made through Officer Velasquez. Any chain of custody predicate has been made through both of those witnesses. So the state's gonna reoffer Stacy to 15 through 29.
Can I see the attorneys, please?